Vancouver, Nashville.
This one's interesting.
I am very interested in this one. I honestly, my first thought is like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, me
I
too.
really like Vancouver, but I mean, Nashville has been insane. Like, they've got the vibes on their side. Like that like, I don't know what happened, but they've got the vibes. They've got the I
Andrew
think they've got
Burnett, man.
momentum.
That's what I think happened. He figured out how to best utilize his team, and they went on a rip to finish off the season, and they're really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Vancouver was a better team over the last month, but at the end of the day, like, for me, I give the edge to Vancouver. I said Vancouver in 6, but I think it's going to be a tough 6. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think Nashville's going to, I think there might be a situation where Nashville sort of maybe goes up 2-1 in the series or something, like makes Vancouver shake a little bit, take one away in Vancouver, win one at home, go up 2-1 in Vancouver, then sort of, gets moving.
And then
And
JT Miller just explodes.
yeah, that top unit just goes because they're great. And Thatcher Demko is great. He's been excellent this year. UC Saros has been good too, sure.
Yep.
But again, it's like it's the same thing as other series. Like, you look up and down the lineup and you kind of go, I like Nashville. They're plucky. I got a lot of respect for what they've done this year.
Yep.
But I don't think they're quite on the same level as Vancouver. Like,
They're not.
Vancouver has the top unit for sure. But like, down the lineup, even, like, it's not terrible. It's not bad, but it's not quite on the same level to me.
So
so Vancouver in 6 is what I put down.
So I think when it comes to this, it's going to be fascinating because Thatcher Demko is just coming back from injury. So I think that's a bit of a wild card. Like, you have to evaluate it as, well, it's an unknown how he's going to be in the playoffs. And sure, everything's an unknown until we actually see it. But my confidence level in terms of how good he's going to be after returning from an injury is, I'm a little more tepid with going out and saying, oh, I think Vancouver is just going to steamroll this. Because if Thatcher Demko hadn't got hurt, I think I would have looked at this series and been, I feel 65% confident Vancouver will win. But I don't know. Like, UC Saros is a top 5 goalie in the league. And Thatcher Demko is also close to that, if not right there.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a wild card to me. Also, I love Elias Pettersson, but there are times where he's just invisible.
Yep.
And I don't know what to expect out of him. Like, I think he'll be great, but it's also a little bit of a wild card. I still think Vancouver's going to win. I do.
Yes.
Because up and down the lineup, I think they're better, though the defense is still a question. But I think Nashville also has their own issues too.
Yep.
But, like, I would say it's going to be Canucks in 7. And I would say I'm about 56% confident in that because I think Nashville could swing it. Because UC Saros can steal series. Roman Josi can just go off. Philip Forsberg I think Philip Forsberg either scored 50 goals or was really close.
Yeah.
This year, it's like they have weapons, and Ryan O'Reilly's a great defensive center. Like, they have a shutdown center.
Yep.
So what happens when Elias Pettersson's up against Ryan O'Reilly? And could we see some inconsistencies out of him? Because it happens. Like, sometimes he'll have insane nights, and other nights he'll just disappear. So we'll see. I think JT Miller might actually be the X factor for Vancouver in this series because he's just always on and going. If he's on, that is, like, in a season, and he has been this year. He's been incredible.
For the record, Philip Forsberg, 48 goals this
48.
year. So he didn't quite get to 50, but that's still amazing. That's a great year.
Yeah.
I guess what I would say before we move on is, like, the one thing that gives me a little bit of pause about Vancouver, and at least I've been saying this all year, but they are outshooting their potential offense really hard still. Like, if you look at the raw number of expected goals between the two teams this year, Nashville is ahead by 23.
Yeah.
It's 264 to 241. Nashville undershot that number by a pretty decent margin. Vancouver overshot that number by a big margin. And, is that going to be a thing that comes into play, right? Like, is it going to be, okay, here comes the top unit for Vancouver. They put them up 1-0 over Nashville. That top unit comes off the ice. Nashville gets a few chances against the depth in Vancouver. to me, that's what will, I think, make it a little closer, because Vancouver, they are, they're getting a lot of goals that generally, you're not getting most times. But I don't know. I think at the end of the day, though,
quickly
the weaponry on Vancouver might pull
quickly, because Sean Cosgrove in the chat just want to know where you're getting the stats from, just so you can list it.
It's either that or it's a joke. But this is Hockey Viz, so Micah McCurdy's just expected goals model. So expected specifically by him.
Yes.
So if basically what I'm saying is, if Nashville loses, then blame him, because it's all his fault. I'm just joking. It's not, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be close. I think people underestimating Nashville still are, playing with fire a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to go over?
Yeah,
on this one,
the last thing I want to bring up is, it's funny how we didn't mention Elias Lindholm the entire time, because he's just not been good, right?
Yeah.
Like they tried to switch out a guy who wasn't fitting for a guy they thought would fit, and now I think he's playing third line and not doing a ton.
Yeah, he's got 11 points in 25 games.
Yeah, and Elias Lindholm is a guy that needs superstars to drive the bus for him, and he needs to be the 1C kind of thing. Like, that's what happened with Johnny Gaudreau and Matt Tkachuk. And yeah, like, we'll see how he does in the playoffs, but like, it feels like ever since he's not done so great in Vancouver, they've kind of cascaded. Like, they've fallen off. So we'll see. But and also Demko not being around also, I think, made it look a lot worse for them too. Yeah. So we'll see. But I think Vancouver does get it done. Slight edge.
I think there is upset potential here. I do think that there could be potential for Nashville to pull it off, but I'm not giving it to them as is right now, I don't think.
Yep.